Welcome to the English Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Maria. Today we have an exciting topic for you. Improving your memory.
That's right. Memory is something we all want to enhance, whether it's for studying, work, or remembering important things in our daily lives.
Exactly, but first, Alex, why do you think memory is so important?
Well, for starters, our memory helps us learn new things. It helps us remember information for tests, work presentations, or even just remembering where we put our keys.
Yes, I've definitely misplaced my keys a few times. And improving our memory can also boost our confidence. When we remember things well, we feel more prepared.
Absolutely. Today, we'll be talking to an expert who will share some amazing tips on how to enhance our memory.
That's really exciting. What kind of tips can listeners expect, Alex?
We'll learn about practical techniques like using mnemonic devices, spaced repetition, and even how our lifestyle choices impact our memory.
Sounds great. For our listeners, let's explain what a mnemonic device is. It's a tricky term.
Sure, a mnemonic device is a memory aid. For example, you can use a rhyme or an acronym to help remember a list of items.
Right. Like using the word homes to remember the Great Lakes. Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior.
Exactly. Those little tricks can make a big difference. And we will also touch on the importance of sleep and exercise for memory.
Yes, taking care of our bodies is just as important as taking care of our minds.
Before we dive into our expert interview, let's remind our listeners. Improving your memory takes practice. It won't happen overnight.
That's true. But with the right techniques and a bit of patience, anyone can become a memory master.
All right, let's get started. We're excited to hear what our expert has to say. Stick with us.
Stay tuned. You won't want to miss these valuable insights.
Welcome back to the English Hustle Podcast. It's time for our vocabulary segment. Today, we are discussing some important words related to memory.
That's right. Learning new vocabulary is a great way to improve your English. Let's get started. What's the first word, Alex?
The first word is memory. Memory is the ability to remember things.
Right. For example, I have a good memory for names. I can remember most people's names after I meet them.
Great example. The next word is recall. Recall means to bring information back to mind.
Exactly. When you study for a test, you need to recall what you learned.
Now, let's talk about mnemonic. A mnemonic is a memory aid or trick to help us remember something.
Yes, like when I use homes to remember the Great Lakes, it helps me recall them easily.
Good one. The next word is retention. Retention means keeping information in your memory for a long time.
Right. When we practice something often, we improve our retention of that information.
The next term is association. This means connecting one idea with another to help remember it better.
That's helpful. For example, I associate the word apple with the color red. That helps me remember it.
Excellent. Our next word is repetition. Repetition means doing something again and again.
Yes, repetition is important for memory. The more you repeat information, the better you remember it.
That's true. And the last word for today is focus. Focus means giving your full attention to something.
Exactly. When we focus on studying, we can understand and remember the information better.
Great job, Maria. So, to recap, our vocabulary words are memory, recall, mnemonic, retention, association, repetition, and focus.
Yes. And remember, using these words in sentences helps you practice and improve your English.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this vocabulary segment. Keep practicing, and you'll be a memory master in no time. Maria, what are some things you do to help your memory?
One thing I do is write notes. I always keep a notebook with me. If I want to remember something important, I write it down.
That's a great tip. Writing things down helps many people remember better. Do you have any other techniques?
I also use mnemonic devices. For example, I use rhymes or acronyms to remember lists. It makes it fun.
Nice. I love using acronyms, too. They make it much easier to recall information. Do you have an example?
Sure. If I need to remember the order of operations in math, I use PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction.
That's a clever way to remember. It's amazing how a simple word can help us recall important steps.
It really is. Another thing I focus on is getting enough sleep. Sleep is crucial for our memory.
Absolutely. When we sleep, our brains process information from the day. Good sleep helps us remember better.
Yes, and I try to exercise regularly too. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, which can improve memory.
Great point. Taking care of our bodies helps our minds. What about studying? Do you have a method for that?
Yes, I use spaced repetition. It means reviewing information over time instead of all at once. This helps me remember it longer.
That's a popular technique. Studying in short sessions is more effective than cramming everything in one night.
For sure. Lastly, I try to stay focused when I study. If I'm distracted, I forget things easily.
Focus is key. Turning off my phone notifications helps me concentrate.
So, to sum it up, we can improve our memory by writing notes, using mnemonics, getting enough sleep, exercising, using spaced repetition, and staying focused.
Exactly. Remember, improving memory takes practice, but anyone can do it.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you found these tips helpful. Start practicing today.
Maria, I just heard a fascinating story about someone named Jake who became a memory master.
Really, I'd love to hear it. What's his story?
So, Jake was a regular student who struggled with remembering information for his exams. He would often forget important details, which made him really anxious.
That sounds frustrating. What did he do about it?
Well, one day, he discovered a book about memory techniques. It introduced him to something called the Memory Palace method.
Oh, I've heard of that. How does it work?
Jake created a vivid mental image of his home and assigned different pieces of information to specific rooms. For example, he placed facts about history in the living room and science concepts in the kitchen.
That's a clever way to organize information. Did it help him?
Absolutely. As he studied, he could visualize walking through his house and recalling the information associated with each room. It boosted his confidence dramatically.
That's incredible. What happened when it was time for the exams?
On exam day, Jake walked into the classroom feeling excited rather than nervous. When he saw the questions, he simply visualized his memory palace and recalled everything he learned.
So did he do well?
He did even better than he expected. He aced the exam and was so proud of himself. Plus, he shared his techniques with friends, helping them improve their memory, too.
What a great story. Jake's transformation shows how effective memory techniques can be.
Exactly. It's inspiring to see how one method can change everything for someone.
I might have to try that memory palace technique myself. Thanks for sharing Jake's story, Alex.
Anytime, Maria. Let's keep encouraging each other to become memory masters. Hey, Maria, did you know that our brains can hold an estimated 2.5 petabytes of information? That's like having the capacity to remember about 3 million hours of TV shows.
Wow, that's incredible. But how can we tap into that potential and become memory masters?
Great question. One simple technique for beginners is to use mnemonics. Those are memory aids that help us remember information more easily.
Like creating silly phrases or acronyms?
Exactly. For example, to remember the order of the planets, you can use the phrase, "My very educated mother just served us noodles," for Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
That's fun and easy to remember. I can see how using creative phrases can help us memorize information better.
Totally. And the more vivid and silly the images you create in your mind, the better you'll remember them.
I can't wait to start practicing these techniques. Who knew becoming a memory master could be so fun?
Hey, Maria, now that we've talked about memory techniques, how about we practice some together?
That sounds like a great idea, Alex. What should we start with?
Let's begin with mnemonics. It's a fun way to remember lists. How about we each create a mnemonic for a grocery list?
I love that. Okay, let's say our list includes eggs, milk, bread, and apples. I'll make mine first. Every monkey buys an apple. How's that?
That's fantastic. I'm going to go with eager mice bring apples. It's silly, but it'll definitely stick in my mind.
Great job. What's next?
Now, let's try the memory palace technique. Think of your home and choose a few items to remember. We'll visualize where we'll place them.
Okay, I'm thinking of remembering a book, a pen, and a snack. I can picture the book on my living room shelf, the pen in the kitchen drawer, and a snack on my bed.
Nice! I'm picturing the same items. The book on my coffee table, the pen next to my laptop, and an apple sitting on my pillow. This is fun.
I love visualizing it. What's next on our practice list?
Let's create some flashcards. We can write key terms and their definitions. Do you want to do that for a subject we're both studying?
Sure. Let's do it for history. I'll write Battle of Hastings on one side and 1066 on the other.
Great choice. I'll make one for Industrial Revolution and put a period of major industrialization in the late 18th and early 19th centuries on the back.
Awesome. Flashcards are an excellent way to review. What about reciting information? We should try that too.
Definitely. How about we take turns summarizing a chapter from our history book after we read it?
I'm in. Summarizing is a great way to reinforce what we learned.
And we can also use association to link new information to what we already know. It makes remembering even easier.
That's true. Like how Hastings reminds me of hastily because both involve speed.
Exactly. Oh, and we should set aside time each week for regular review to help with long-term retention.
Good idea. We can make a schedule to keep track of our review sessions.
Perfect. With these practices, we'll be well on our way to becoming memory masters.
I can't wait to see how much we improve.
Wow, Maria. I can't believe how much we've learned about improving our memory through all these techniques.
I know, right? From mnemonics to the memory palace, each method has its charm. It's all been so much fun.
Definitely. I love how we've been able to create silly phrases and vivid images in our minds. It makes the learning process so much more enjoyable.
And practicing with flashcards and reciting what we've learned has really helped reinforce our memory. I feel way more confident about retaining information now.
Absolutely. Plus, Setting up a regular review schedule is a fantastic way to keep our memories fresh. I think we're going to make great progress.
I agree. It's exciting to think about how these skills will help us in our studies and beyond. We're becoming true memory masters.
And don't forget to keep experimenting with different techniques. Everyone's memory works a bit differently, so it's important to find what works best for us.
That's a great point. The journey of learning doesn't stop here. There's always room to grow and improve.
Exactly. Let's keep supporting each other as we explore new methods and challenge ourselves.
I'm all in. Here's to our adventure as memory masters. Cheers to learning and growing together.
Cheers, Maria. Let's make the most of it.